Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Pageants and Prosecco. This is breaking pageant news that we are doing right now, up to the minute of this information dropping, because this is such a big deal, you guys. I had to hop on here and talk about it just real fast. So let's just knock everything out the park. Um, I am drinking a Chateau, and I'm gonna mess up the name. Chateau Woque Taide Le Brenet is a 2018 red wine straight from Paris, France. My sister just brought this back for me when she went to Paris in the spring. It's a 2018 wine, and it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc, which is just a delicious combination. I don't really drink Cab Francs too often, but this is considered a vegan wine, and the whole description of it is in French, so I don't know what it's saying, but I hope that this is going to be a good bottle. I had it for so long, just waiting for the perfect moment to open it, and what better time than right now? Let me get this situated. You guys see, I had to come on here as I am. I am literally wearing a shower cap. I'm in the middle of my wash day routine. It's 8 o'clock at night. Today's like my Sunday, technically. So I'm getting my self-care together when I see this news. And we're going to talk about this too. So thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. I am also streaming this live on YouTube, so you can catch me there too, or just catch the replay. If you listen to me on the podcast, you can catch the replay on YouTube, and you can see the bottle of wine that I have, and kind of just how unhinged, I guess you could say, LOL, that I look. Because I was literally I just finished watching the season 20 of Project Runway, the all-star auditions, and was just scrolling on the internet when I came across this news. Okay, so right now I'm trying to open up this bottle. You guys hear that? That's the corkscrew attempting to go in. I'm using, I forgot what it's called, like a restaurant wine opener, a restaurant, Assam kind of opener. Okay, there you go. Oh no, the cork is breaking. This typically happens with authentic wines, especially from countries like, Paris, or France, where that's like their home. They're making wine for thousands of years, so they typically have corkscrews that are a little bit tougher to go through because it's made of actual wood. It's authentic and it's sensitive. And like I said, this is a 2018 wine, so this cork has been in here since 2018. We love that sound. But Somelier's wine opener to me is a little bit, I don't know, bougier compared to, the bunny ears one. But I'm excited to try this bottle because I had it for months. What a beautiful sound for some beautiful breaking news. Cheers, you guys. Oh, it's so juicy. It tastes like a plum. It truly tastes like a plum. That's the best way I would describe it. A plum, dark fruits, cherries, maybe some raspberry in there too. But it's nice, it's juicy. It definitely feels more like a Merlot, in my opinion. Okay, so Let's get into the news. Okay, we're done talking. Let's get into the news, you guys. Miss Universe. This is according to what's the name of this website? Women's Wear Daily, wwd.com. Now we are going to also ask WWJD as well, because Jesus then came through for all the retirees and had them say, "Oh, because Miss Universe done increase. No. They didn't increase it. They put an end to their age restrictions for the 2024 Miss Universe and all affiliate pageant programs, which includes the state Miss USA competitions here in America." Whoa, like, whoa. This is officially where the domino is about to fall in the pageant world when it comes to age requirement and this conversation on ageism. And this is a conversation that I think we should have been done had for a minute, because, as me and my fellow cohort of pageant contestants and delegates that I competed against, as we get older, it's like we still want to compete, but we just can't because some pageants don't have an age uh, category that fits us. And then you go into the Ms. And a lot of us, by definition, the Ms. and Ms. title is for someone who is a divorcee or someone who has a kid. That's technically when the Ms. title comes in hand. But if I'm still single with no kids, I'm technically still a Miss. Okay. I'm technically still a Miss. All right. So that's kind of what I have been talking about on here for a while, and what the regular conversation around the pageant world has been. That's why we've increased it to 28, and now here we are dropping it straight to nothing. Over 18. So according to wwd.com, who just broke this news at 6 o'clock tonight, apparently Miss Universe with Bonnie Gabriel was at a fashion show for Tanner Fletcher. As we know, it's New York Fashion Week. Tanner Fletcher was debuting her spring 2024 collection during a show on Tuesday called Beauty Pageant. The Miss Universe Beauty Pageant has been around, like you guys know, since 1952, and decided to eliminate age limits for delegates over 18 years old. Previously, the age limit was 28 years old for contestants. Rabani told WWD, quote, "What I love about Miss Universe is that they are always out first in line looking for ways they can be more inclusive and better live up to the platform that they designed for us. It's a bold group of women in charge over here, and you know what? A lot of people tend to follow what we do. It's nice to be a standard bearer, and I'm proud that we get to do this." And as we know, Rabani won Miss Texas, Miss USA, Miss Universe. She was the oldest Miss Universe to date at 29 years old, and that's only because they had that age limit increase. So by default, technically, she's the oldest, but they just increased their age limit a couple years ago, which allowed her to compete in the first place. So anyway, she's 29 years old. She's the oldest Miss Universe to date, and the policy change is effective for all 2024 pageants worldwide. Now, the co-founder and the creative director of Tanner Fletcher, the designer, is Fletcher Kessel. He's the co-founder. And he said, quote, "We are thrilled to partner with the Miss Universe organization on a beauty pageant of our own. It's wonderful to open up the world of Tanner Fletcher to other organizations who share a similar uplifting and empowering vision. We are aligned on a belief that all people, no matter the societal boxes they have been put into, deserve to act as their authentic selves and be celebrated for it. Now, Gabrielle, as we know, initially brought up the issue of age during her 2023 Q&A part of the pageant, and she said during her onstage question that when she was asked if there was any changes to the organization's rule, what would they be? And she mentioned raising the age limit. And she said when she competed, the age limit was 28, and she was 28 at the time. So her answer was that she thinks that we should change this. The woman's ability to compete at Miss Universe or anything in life should not be defined by her age. Age ain't nothing but a number. So then she added that she believes the message of diverse representation was abounded during her first turn at New York Fashion Week for spring 2024 runways, where she attended the shows of Sixto, and Alice and Olivia. And she said that she noticed that there seemed to be more inclusivity when it comes to the runway shows. Different body types, different shapes and sizes, even men walking in shows where designers are doing genderless clothing. And she thinks there's still room for improvement when it comes to inclusion, but she likes the direction that it's going. So then this article kind of goes into how Anne took over the Miss Universe organization for $20 million last year. And on January 14th, she announced transformational leadership in order to enhance the organization's long-standing heritage. And then in 2023, we saw the end of the restrictions on contestants who are married, divorced, and pregnant. And as we know, Miss Universe will be held November 18th in El Salvador. And we are going to be on the podcast, on the YouTube streets up until then. We have a lot of national pageants happening. There's a lot to talk about in the community. So, and then the article goes into talking about how Rabani is an advocate for sustainability and fashion, and how she's a fashion designer, and that it's her responsibility as Miss Universe to continue the conversation and raise awareness of sustainability in the fashion world, and that Gabrielle is doing her part for an eco-conscious fashion industry, and she has a casual wear brand made of upcycled materials, I believe called Rabani Gabrielle. It said namesake. So interesting. So anyway, the most important part is Miss Universe has increased their age limit. Thank you for those who are tuned in, watching. Comment what you think about this. This is like a big deal. So tell me your opinions. Comment as you're on here, if you're watching on YouTube. And we're going to have this discussion. We're also going to have this discussion on social media as well. So, like we know, in August 2022, Miss Universe pageant becomes inclusive when they rewrote the rules to include married women and mothers in their competition. And that started in 2023, saying that the parental status will no longer affect the eligibility of the contestants. And let me see. But that was only for women who are 18 to 28. I'm looking up some more information for you guys. And then I know that there was a mother who just won one of the Miss Universe country pageants. Was it Ireland? I saw somebody just won who was a mother. So anyway, this is a big deal. Let's just talk for a second. Let me hop off this and talk. Let's just talk. So when it comes to ageism in pageant competitions, like I said, this has been an ongoing discussion for quite some time, because at least in the circles that I run in, let me set this up better. When it comes to pageants, is that I think that people of all ages want to keep competing in pageants, right? And there's only so many pageants dedicated to certain kind of women as we get older, because we have those subsection categories where, like I said, Ms. had to be, technically you were divorced or an unmarried woman with a child, and that qualified you as a Ms. So you didn't necessarily feel like you belonged. And a lot of times the Miss category is just 18 plus. And there's no cap on that. So I want to know what you guys think about Miss Universe dropping their age eligibility completely. I'm going to hop on Instagram real fast because there is this one account called, I'm sure you guys follow it, Road to Miss Universe, where I saw this information first. And I'm going to just read you some of the comments there anonymously. Was it them who just announced this? Or maybe it was Road to Miss USA. Let's see. Because this is where I just heard the news. Are you guys excited for Miss USA here in a few days? I'm going to bring you guys my top. Okay, so look. This was 2 hours ago. The Road to Miss USA posted that the Miss Universe organization announces the elimination of all age limits across all Miss Universe and associated pageants. This change will apply for all 2024 pageants globally. Starting then, every adult woman in the world will be eligible to compete to be Miss Universe. And I, for Design Hair, this is a hair company I use when I compete, said girls will be coming out of retirement with 3 hard eyes. Some other people, other title holders said, oh, snap, with like a smirk face, like a consideration face. Some people say, we love this. No way. Someone's asking questions about how is it fair for an older woman to compete against an 18-year-old with different life experiences. And someone replied back saying this is getting out of hand, it's unfair. There are women in their 40s who are going to school to become a doctor after having a different career for many years. The point is, age should not limit anyone to go after their dream. Whether the dream is to become a lawyer, a beauty queen, a doctor, a banker, etc., age should not be a factor why you don't go after what you want. Wow. So you can ultimately compete for Miss Universe the rest of your lives, you guys. That's what this is saying. We can now compete forever in the Miss Universe organization for state. Because before there was a deadline, and now there isn't. There's something that just got into my eye. Okay. So someone else said, why does everyone keep using 40-year-olds as comparison? One of the stigmas attached to pageantry is that it favors young women and enforces the idea that women are useless after a certain age. 30 isn't old, 40 isn't old, and there are 20-year-old students, employees. There are 20-year-old students / employees with 40-year-old colleagues every day. I think we're also forgetting that in pageants, the judges will make the decision. So yeah, married women, plus-size women, women of any age may be allowed to compete, but that guarantees no outcome. It's just welcoming more people to the same experience. Someone said, it's a great start, but as a society, we have a tendency to overcorrect. Extending the age limit, she understands, but getting rid of it is insane. I see people outraged in the comments, but understand that the pageant will in fact remain competitive, if not more. But what I didn't understand is why not just add a Ms. division? Someone else says, what makes Miss Universe special, just like any professional sport, is not everyone can compete. It's an honor to compete and be a part of the select few. This is too much. Age limits are definitely needed. Someone said Miss Universe is struggling to stay relevant because 18-year-olds can compete with 40-year-olds. And someone else replied back saying, I'm assuming they'll keep the categories though. For example, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. Oh, they're talking about the teen category. There's a lot of pageant system with married contestants, middle-aged contestants, etc. So the concept isn't too strange. So anyway, the comments are all in shambles on this particular post about this age limit. Some are saying an age limit is necessary. Some are saying you can't have a 45-year-old compete against a 19-year-old. It's fine to increase the age gap to say 28, but it needs to be a cutoff. This is so unfair in so many ways. Some are saying the universe organization is over. Others are just here for the comments. Some people say get ready for familiar faces to come back. Some are saying this is getting ridiculous. How about we let past title holders recompete? Is that an option? So people are all over the place. Some are for the age limit, some are against it. Someone said age should not limit someone for going after what they want. There are people in their 30s going to school to become a doctor. Why not a beauty queen as well? I think Miss Universe organization is trying to be as inclusive as possible, and I like it. I think you guys need to get the big picture here. MUO is providing the access to all women without limitations, age, body size, etc. It is fair. I don't see how anyone will oppose this initiative if you are down for inclusivity. I think it is now up to the national organizations on whom they will crown 18-year-old versus a 35-year-old. Age should not stop any woman from becoming a doctor, a lawyer, a beauty queen, etc., because regardless of the age limit, the right girl for the job will always win Miss Universe. And someone says, speaking facts. This comment needs to be pinned. Yes. That was a great opinion. And someone else, last person, says no one has a problem with the 40-year-old athlete competing against an 18-year-old athlete in the NFL, NBA, etc., etc. But now this is a giant issue for people in a pageant system that is intended to celebrate diversity. Come on now, laugh, crying face. Just like nobody forces professional athletes to play over the age of 28, nobody is forcing women over 28 to compete. They will be willingly, they'll be there willingly and because they deserve to be. I like that. They'll be there willingly, yeah. So if you are older, then you know what you're up against. And if you are younger, you also know what you're up against. So people are in shambles. This is going to turn the pageant world upside down and have us bouncing off the ceilings inside out. Because nonetheless, this is such a big deal. And I think that it should be celebrated. And if I was to give you guys my honest opinion, let me just say, I've always been an advocate for allowing older women to compete in these pageants. I just never actually thought that this day would happen. So September 12th, 2023 will be a date that we remember because honestly, this just opened up a whole pretty Pandora's box of contestants that we're going to now see competing in these pageants. And also, let's look at the super stupid positive. We get to see a lot of women come back, women who simply aged out but could have really made it if she had a couple more years, women who now have even more years to get ready, and one day their dream will be accomplished. You have people who got married because they were a certain age already and they didn't think they would ever compete for this pageant system again. So they went ahead and got married and had kids. So you have people who are going to come out of the woodworks, I think, to come back and compete for their state. Also, what could be interesting is that we might see an increase in the material of contestants because technically, remember, we also had the residency requirement that was 3 months, and some girls were going to college in other states too. So technically, if you don't win your state and then you are eligible in another state, you can really win that state. And then you ultimately will get your dream to come true, which is competing for Miss USA. And so I think the caliber of contestants and the competitiveness is going to increase dramatically because we have some of these older, experienced glamazons that are going to just dominate and dominate for years to come until eventually they'll probably retire. And I'm curious to see because I heard women in their 40s, like that's where like your peak femininity kind of comes out. I watched The Real quite a bit, and they mentioned how they love turning 40 and how their 40s was just a great time. It is a great time for more reasons than one, and how their body kind of is working with them too as they age gracefully. That's just what I've heard. So I know that it's probably only up from here where I'm at physically. And so it's like if there's so many women who have so much more potential, but all they needed was actual time, now you got that. So now you can spend the next 3 years getting physically ready, mentally ready, spiritually ready, financially ready to compete in this pageant. And here you are, 37 years old, and then you dominate and you win. That's because you had that time to do the inner shadow work, I guess you could say, to do what you ultimately wanted to do, which was chase your dreams of being Miss Universe. It's impressive. I'm totally here for this. But I think also too, the conversation that needs to be had and that will be had will be how many times is probably too many. Like if I can compete for Miss Universe the rest of my life, after a while, am I going to get a pity crown? Or like if I do this for the next 15 years, on year 16, am I A, still going to want to keep doing it? And B, will they just crown me eventually because I did it for 15 years? I don't know. There's a lot of different scenarios that come out of this, but ultimately, I think that this is leaning towards the positive. And I think that what's also going to happen is the domino effect of other pageant systems who are going to now have to scramble in their boardrooms to think, what age limit should I put on this competition? Because if Miss USA, one of the main top 4 pageants in the world, now has no age eligibility, what is that going to look like for these other pageants that still do have their age eligibility? Like I can imagine numbers decreasing across other pageant systems who don't get on board with this age limit, or maybe their numbers will go up because people don't want to compete in Miss USA because now anybody can compete. And then it has to be, I think for any competition, there has to be some level of a challenge. And I think that the age gave us time. So you had to get your life together before 28 to compete in this pageant. But now because of that, we have no time. So it's like, what's really the competitive nature here? It has to be the experience and what you deliver on stage, because now there's no barrier to entry. And I feel like that's like the first step in making anything competitive is having a cutoff of when you can enter or something. I don't know. I think about it, you guys. I really do gotta think about it. But what are your thoughts? What do you guys think about this? Because this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And I am excited to see how this news continues to open up this conversation, especially in the next couple of hours, as this just broke a couple of hours ago. So I'm excited for it. Leave your comment down below, like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast so that way these numbers can kind of grow and we can show support for the Pageant and Prosecco podcast, because we love this industry just as much as you do. And I want to bring you guys some great coaching tips, conversations surrounding the beauty industry, because there's so much that we could talk about that goes on daily in the pageant world that I think that we need a place to come together all at one spot to have these discussions. And right here with our glass of wine is the spot. Let's do this, pageant peeps. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Comment on it wherever you're listening to, just comment and let's start this conversation. You can also find this post on Pageants and Prosecco Instagram page and leave a comment there. And then maybe for our next video, I'll come back with you guys' reaction to this news that there is no longer an age limit on this Miss Universe pageant. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool. So I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And do not forget, the Book of Beauty is dedicated to helping us get better when it comes to our interviews. As you guys know, I'm a television reporter. I do interviews every single day. And I can tell when someone is giving me an answer that is fluff. And I feel like I know how to ask the right questions that will get you to say a great answer. And all that is going to be broken down in the new book, The Book of Beauty. It is dropping this month on Amazon, but you can go on there and get some pre-orders together. So that way when it is ready, you guys can get it. And also hop on my website, pageantsandprosecco.com. We have artwork that was given to us from Chianti's Lux Digitals. Chianti's Lux Digitals. And that is an online community of just these gorgeous pieces of art that is available for the wall, like putting it up on your wall. It's available for the phone wallpaper, your computer wallpaper, your iPad wallpaper, things like that. Hi, Derek. I'm going to show you a comment. No, I can't believe it. That's why I'm here in my shower cap talking about this as breaking news, because this is a big deal. Do you think that this is going to help or hurt the Miss Universe organization? Comment real fast. Do you think this is going to help or hurt it? Because, you know, I said my piece. I think it's going to help it when it comes to the caliber of women, but I do see how it could hurt it too. Because I feel like it's just going to open up the floodgates for other things later. Like, I can't really think of anything particular, but I think there has to be some level of competitiveness. And yeah, I think this is just gonna open up a lot more good than bad, but I don't know. I could see backlash. Oh shit, I just got scared. Okay. My dryer just started back up and scared the crap out of me. So Derek said, I think it's gonna help them diversify the lineup. And that he doesn't think it will hurt any other system. I don't think either. I don't think it will hurt any other system either. My heart is racing. My dryer just started back up. Scared the crap out of me. Okay, so Derek doesn't think it's going to hurt any other system. I don't think it's going to hurt any other system per se. If anything, I think that now other systems can kind of be used as like that practice pageant before you go to Miss Universe. Because if you have a limit on time for these other pageant systems, you can do those. Try that system out for a while, because you know Miss USA will always be there as an option. Derek is on fire today. He said some girls want to compete within their own age groups, so no, not one so broad with no age requirements, which I totally get that too. Like, you want to make sure that you have an even playing field. That's the reason why they have a lot of these black pageants. You see behind me doing this Black America sash. And that was my Illinois contestant sash when I was at Miss Black America. And this is the one we got, all the delegates got, the anniversary sash. So there's a reason for these black pageant systems too. The black pageant systems and other pageant systems dedicated to nationalities or race are simply so that way girls have an even playing field against each other when it comes to who their fellow contestants are. So now that there's no age requirement, then it's like, what commonality does this group have whereas equally even when it comes to scoring. Because black pageants are around because a lot of people feel like a lot of black girls weren't winning these traditional pageants, so they created their own systems to highlight the beauty that is in African American and women of the diaspora, period. And I competed my fair share of pageants to black women, and I did feel like I had a higher chance. I also got some of my higher placements at these systems that were dedicated to us. So that's kind of what Derek is talking about. People want to compete with their own group of women that have something similar where the competition makes sense. So age group works because you're all the same age. So now that there's this broad no age group, you're competing against women who have years of experience. But like I said, it really comes down to, like I have in the book of beauty, it comes down to your interview in the most part, and I think the fashion that you bring to it too. And more that we talk on this podcast, the more I'm going to talk about fashion. I think fashion really is the core of what we do. And I think that there's so many ways that you can win with your fashion choices. But of course, something that Derek says, you dress how you want to be addressed. And in the Book of Beauty, you focus on color psychology for your interview and your evening gown and what different colors mean, so that way you have a good interview out the gate and they're not prejudging you simply based on what you have on. So fashion plays a big role in winning a pageant as well, in my opinion. So we'll talk more about fashion here in the next couple of episodes, especially as we get into the Miss Universe organization. The VMAs had pageants, and I think also some evening gowns. I find some pretty evening gowns on Instagram, and I want to share with you guys because I think that these would be great gowns for pageants if people sought out designers that were more non-traditional pageant designers. But I'll share those on the Pageants Prosecco Instagram page and on the story because I have so many cute dresses I see. Like, oh, this would be so cute if someone wore this to a pageant. So let's talk about it. But for today, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Really comment below. Hop on YouTube, find this video under Pageants and Prosecco, and let's talk about this age thing, because as the days progress and this news becomes more known and open and the conversations continue, we're going to need to have a part 2 to this to continue talking about what people are thinking initially. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope your glasses are empty, and I'll finish mine up. And I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.